Hello, my name is Kubold, and this is the third video from the series that shows you how to rig and skin a Mech robot in MayaLT, export it to Motionbuilder, and retarget Movement Animset Pro animations to that Mech robot. So this is the third video from the series. Please watch the first two videos if you haven't seen them and come back to this video after. So in previous videos we created a skeleton for the Mech robot and we added skin to the mesh, so the bones now move the mesh of the robot. Next step is to export it to FBX so Motionbuilder can open it. So let's go File, Export All, and let's find our destination folder and let's call it Mech Skinned. Here are the FBX dialog options. You want to make sure that animation is checked, and you want to make sure that default models and skins are checked. So now let's go Export All. It's exported, and we can proceed to Motionbuilder to retarget the Mech. So I'll just go and open Motionbuilder. I already have the source file from Movement Animset Pro open. This file is attached to the pack that you can buy in Unreal Marketplace. So this is attached to the Unreal project. This pack contains rigged epic skeleton with all the animations from Movement Animset Pro baked on it. So let's import our exported Mech. So let's go to Asset Browser and first we need to make sure that no bone name is duplicated. So actually the epic skeleton has the first bone is called root, and we want to make sure, and our Mech skeleton root bone is also called root, so we want to make sure this bone doesn't get overridden. So what we can do is to select the first bone from the hierarchy and right click and go add remove namespace. So apply to branch, so it's applied to the whole hierarchy, and let's write epic. Okay, now all the bones have this namespace added. You can remove it later. So now let's find our Mech model. Let's go right click, refresh. Yeah, here it is. And we just, from the asset browser, we just drag and drop it to the scene. We use FBX merge, not open, just merge, and no animation. And our Mech appeared. So you see there's quite a bit of difference from the epic skeleton, and let's prepare our model for retarget. To make the Mech retargetable, we need to first characterize it in Motionbuilder. So Motionbuilder knows that those are legs, this is spine. The problem with characterization in Motionbuilder is that it is using humanoid skeletons. So we need, except for the legs, we need arms. So let's create phantom arms for this Mech, so the characterization can be properly done. So again, from the asset browser, let's go in templates, elements, and skeleton node. Let's add skeleton node here, and let's parent it to the spine bone. This is the spine bone. I will hold Alt key on the keyboard, and with left mouse button clicked, I will drag and drop this arm bone to the spine bone and let go of the button. And we have a parent option here, so I'll click it. This will be our arm. Not real, we will delete it after baking an animation on the Mech. We just need it for proper characterization. So this is our arm. Let me, in properties, let me go skeleton node settings in properties here, and let me increase the size so it's better visible, and that will be our arm. I will now press Ctrl C, Ctrl V to duplicate the bone and create an elbow. Ctrl C, Ctrl V to create a hand. And now I will parent the hand to the elbow and parent the elbow with Alt button and dragging and dropping to the arm. That's our left hand. Now I will just select those bones, press Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and move it here. So this will be our right arm, and just move it more or less in T-pose. Of course, I will parent it again to the spine, and those are our hands. Not exactly equal. Let me just move it. Yeah. So now let's characterize the mech. From the asset browser, templates, characters, let me just drag and drop the character to the hips of this character. Characterize. Of course, the warning came out that he couldn't find all the bones in the characterization. So let's click OK. And he says he couldn't find left arm, left forearm, because we didn't actually name the bones that we actually created right now, just right now. Let's close the dialog, go to characters. That's our new character. That's the robot mannequin from the Movement Animset Pro, and that's our new character, the robot. Let's rename it. Let's call it Mecha, and let's go to character definition dialog to complete the characterization. Let's go to base and let's see what he couldn't find. Because of we use human IK naming when we were creating the bones, he recognized hips, left legs, and spine and head, but we need to point him to the left arm. I'm clicking this, holding Alt and dragging and dropping the nodes, the skeleton nodes, to the proper fields here. So right arm, right forearm, and hand. Also auxiliary, yeah, left toe base. Okay, so now we can click characterize as biped. We can also go quadruped if we are making a dog, but yeah, biped. So what is created is basically a rig for animation, and one of the important thing is foot placement. So because this character actually walks on toes, not on his feet, like a normal human, so we need to set the this little things that's foot placement markers in character setting, modifiers, floor contacts, and feet floor contact system. We need to set it up to toes and toe base. They're here. Let's move it back to, because they just dislocated to 0, so global 0. Yeah. So these markers are the points that will be retargeted from the feed from the characters from Movement Animset Pro. Also, a good thing to add is character extensions, specifically meaning the root. So we go to characters, character extension, and let's drag and drop it to our to our character Mecha. So our character now has a character extension, and let's select the root bone of the Mecha, and with Alt drag and drop it to character extension, add to character extension. Now our new character has a root in extension. So when we will bake animation to the character, it also will be baked on the root. Alright, so both models are characterized. We can now proceed to retargeting the animations. Let's here we have both characters, so let's select first character Mecha and source robot mannequin. We can see the idle animation is already automatically retargeted from the character to the robot. Same goes for the rest of animations. I have so few animations because I deleted the ones that I didn't want to actually target. So for example, throwing, crouching, etc. I just left the ones that I wanted for the mech. So let's turn on looping, and yeah, this doesn't look very good yet, so this will require some tweaking. First thing we need to notice that this character's feet base is not the heel here, it's the toes. So this is the rig. The green dots are IK and the gray dots are FK. So when we want to retarget, we want the IK, the end of the IK chain of the feet, not to end on heels. So let's just turn off IK with the slider, and instead let's mark the toe joints and just turn the IK on. So right now the end of the IK chain is on the toes. Next thing we want to do is move the upper body up a little bit. It looks so funny because of the differences of the character's height. So here in the navigator, here in the navigator we have retargeting and character settings of the mecha. We have retargeting, and we have actually a lot of various different options for retargeting. Let's go retargeting, and there is a interesting thing called action space compensation. It's right now it's automatic, but we don't want it automatic. We want to move the slider much, and well, right now it doesn't do much, but if we combine it with other tweaks, so for example, let's go and select the torso and turn on IK on the torso and turn on IK pull. So right now the IK is taken. The pull is basically how much this IK node pulls the rest of the body towards its designated position. So in comparison, in match with action space compensation, we get interesting and quite satisfying results already. Next thing is there's action space compensation, and then there's offsets. Offsets are also very important. Hips level. So with we can adjust it, but it doesn't do much with the action space compensation right now. But feet spacing, see what it does? So let's just space the feet so they are according. Let's just turn on playback a little slower, half of the speed, so you can see better how the animation looks like. Okay, so what else is wrong? The hips. Let's just go and find the setting that is responsible for this little strange hips problem. It may be roll. Let's see how we can adjust the hips with the roll. Right hip roll. See, if it's off, right hip is doing strange thing. So let's just go all the way, and let's do the same move for the left hip. Better already. Next, the robot his feet are a little bit underground, so let's just turn on automatic Floor contacts. Feet floor contact on, and toes also on. That's off. That's on. Maybe on idle it will be better visible. Off, on. It automatically stays above the ground, right? So what's next? His pose is a little bit weird when he walks forward. We want the heels to be a little bit back. So let's just turn on IK on both heels just a little bit to see if it makes a difference. It makes a little bit difference. How about rotation? Yeah, looks a little bit better. I can turn X-ray mode with Control plus A. Control A turns on and off the X-ray mode. So this looks already pretty decent, but we can adjust it by hand later. Let's see how. Let's see what else can we do. Well, this is pretty much satisfying already, but let's see the rest of the animations. That's turning left and right. Quite nice. 180 degrees. This will need adjusting by hand actually. Let's see, walking forward, start. Yeah. Start 108. Oh yeah, the mech is so big that we have a drawing distance problem. We can fix it by going camera, producer perspective, and just adding a 0 to the far plane. I bet the running animations will have some problem. Yes. So I will just show you how to quickly take care of the running animation problem. First of all, before you start doing hacks like I will show you in a moment, you can always try checking if this will do any difference. And it does, There are still some pops, but it does some difference. Next thing, we clearly see that the root of the character doesn't follow the character. We need to animate it actually either by hand, so just when the character is on rig, just grab the root bone and physically move it so it's under the hips and animate it that way, or we can do a little trick and retarget the root animation from the character. To be able to do that, we need to scale the character up so it's approximately the height of this character. So to do that, we need to go to Asset Browser, go to Elements, and drag and drop a null. This is a null joint. Let me just make it bigger so it's visible. Let's go. Yeah. So a null is basically a helper, a point, a game object from you, basically nothing, just a point in space. Let's go and move it to 0, and on the scene browser we see this is the null. This is the root of our big robot, and this is the epic root. So we can just with Alt drag and drop epic root and all the skeleton hierarchy and parent it to the null. And now the null is the parent of the skeleton of epic. And now we can just scale this character up. Oh, one thing I need to remind you is to turn off scale compensation in the mecha. Let's go scale compensation. Where was it? Solving retargeting auto. So let's get back to the null, and this is approximate hips. Hips need too much hips basically. So right now they are sort of the same size, and what we will do now is to turn on in the mecha character. Let's turn on retargeting and match source, so the character exactly matches the source. So the feet match the feet from the epic skeleton. And now what we can do is we can make a new constraint. So let's go to constraint, right click, insert constraint, and parent child. So that's our parent child constraint. And now we can just grab a root of the mech and with Alt drag it to the child slot, and let's grab the root of the epic character and just drag it as parent. Let's move everything to 0 so the roots are in one place, and let's click snap. So now you can see with this constraint the root from the epic character, the root from the robot follows the root from the epic characters. Same with running. So now it's the time to bake our animation on the robot bones. So let's select mecha, that's our new character, and let's go this, bake, and bake to skeleton with the little 3 dots to get into the options. Let's change rotation filter to gimbal killer and mark plot all takes. Right now it goes and plots the animation on the bones of the mech. So what we don't need now, what we don't need anymore is the epic character. Let's select the null and geometry and right click, select branches, so it's all selected, right click and delete. Just click through all those warnings, and we have the robot with baked animations. Most of the animations are already ready to import to Unreal, but let me just show you a way to fix this popping problem during running. Alright, so how do we fix the popping legs? First we need to go and select the mecha character and plot this one animation, run forward loop that has popping legs, back to control rig. So let's just bake it to control rig, and we haven't created control rig before, so he asks if it's supposed to be FKIK or just IK only. Of course we go FKIK, and we do the same thing with the ankles, so the end of IK joints should be on the toes. So now what we need to do, because see the end of the toes, the feet, are not popping. What is popping is the knees and the ankles, so this part and this part. So what we need to do is to find a correct leg placement. So for example, this is broken, and at this point is like we want it to be. So this is the right leg. So now I will click Ctrl W to get to the graph, and I will find this little yellow. Those are actually FK effectors, not IK but FK. And I will just select the right leg, Ctrl W again, Ctrl A. See, those are the FK effectors. And I will go to F curves window, select translation and rotation on those bones. Those are animation curves, and just delete them all. And okay, I wanted to be smart, but I will just select it and press delete. Okay, so I deleted the FK bones from the leg. So I deleted all those. And my leg stopped popping. I will do the same for the left leg. I'll find a correct, satisfying position of the bones. So for example this, right? I will select the FK, Ctrl W, select it, left leg here, the yellow ones, translation, rotation, select all the keys, press delete. The legs are no longer popping. So now when we have the animation like that, we can adjust it a little bit. So for example, it's a mech, so we don't want the mech to be so bent forward. So for example, we can just select this spine joint, right? And we can go rotation. You could also choose rotation, from here. And we can go to animation layers, add a new layer. Those are just like Photoshop, but for animation. So for example, in here you can see keys baked on the chest, but on the new layer there's nothing. And we can just go and we need to lock the hips with those. So it's now pinned and it will not move when we rotate. And just rotate it forward. Yeah, that's quite good. And press and actually insert the key here, or we can just press K. See, the keys were created. That's our running animation. It goes back and forth. We can correct it by hand or just use IK. Yeah. Root moves. That's it, folks. All you need to do is to just go plot it to skeleton, save the file, and import it to Unreal Engine 4 or Unity, and you have the running mech using Movement Animset Pro. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this interesting, and I'm sorry if this was hard to listen to because I'm not a native speaker. I just wanted to share some knowledge. Bye guys.